Hello, and so welcome to the MindBeWell counseling channel. Thank you for joining me today. And so today I wanted to really talk about, my thoughts, my reactions to kind of what's been going on in the news lately regarding an athlete. Her name is Naomi Osaka, very gorgeous individual. She plays tennis, and one of the things that has been in the news lately is just her withdrawing from two tennis matches. One is the French Open, and also the other is Wimbledon. And I think from what I read is that she is going to resume playing for the Olympics. But the reason why she is taking or she is opting out of both is just because really taking care of her mental health and her self-care. And I don't know, I think for me that's really important. That is the profession that I have. That is what I try to make sure my clients are prioritizing. And for someone to do that such a young age, she has a history of depression, also has social anxiety, and for her to make sure that she is protecting that, I don't know, I feel like I commend her for that. I think that is how you make sure that those outside factors don't continue to control you. And I think there can be critics about just her being the highest earning athlete at the moment and just having money and having the resources and maybe having to fill an obligation. But I mean, at the end of the day, like at times, like you have to let certain things go that are not aligning with how you take care of yourself. They're not aligning with how you are protecting your sanity. For someone her age and a young athlete at that, who has been training all her life, and you hear about the pressures that young athletes have to go through, in addition to a mental health, diagnosis, condition. So all the pressures, the expectations of having to win, of having to do certain things. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to, deal with. And I think it's very easy to be critical about what we see, but we don't know somebody's story. And I think it's important to know that, this is the story that she, is creating for herself. And for her, I took a break for myself to manage my mental health and my self-care, because I know that, just listening from what she mentioned about her why, when she goes into press conferences and there's already that energy of people putting doubt in your mind, oh, that's a challenge. If you're already dealing with depression or social anxiety, and add on to the fact that somebody is asking you questions or saying something in a room, maybe after you just had a competition, that can exacerbate any symptoms that you're experiencing. And so for her to say, you know what, I am making sure that for me to utilize whatever tools I've already, learned, for me to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, I know that this is probably not the best thing for me. And yes, I'm gonna face that backlash, but it's more important for me to make sure that I'm good and to make sure that I am protecting myself and connecting and putting myself in spaces that are important and that make me feel good and that have a positive energy. I feel like we as regular living people, we have that's something for us to, I feel like, prioritize. Yes, we may not all have that. We may not all be able to take a break from work, or we may not be able to have time off to be able to manage our mental health. But it's basically, what are the tools and how are we prioritizing certain things in our lives to make sure that we do make mental health something that we focus on. it's very easy for us, or we're told, you get your physicals for your doctor's appointments, you go every 6 months for your cleaning to the dentist's office, you go once a year to check on your vision. Why aren't we making that something for mental health? And I think that's important. I think when her taking a stance in this situation, and letting people know that this is important for her career in this sport, I think it also hopefully makes it a priority for people within her area and field, within those organizations, to be like, you know what, maybe we do need to do certain things a little bit different, because other organizations are doing it. You have the NFL and the NBA that have implemented mental health initiatives that include a mental health profession that works with teams, just so it can help players manage their mental health. You have other athletes that have also kind of taken breaks from their sport. You have a Michael Phelps, who is an Olympic legend, who took a break from swimming to make sure to get himself together. You have a quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck, who, after just dealing with so much, his injuries, he retired. And even though he faced backlash for that, I think for him it was like, hey, my well-being, my mental health is way important than this. And I think that is something that we have a lot to learn about, that, and to remove that stigma of mental health, and not coming down on someone that is saying, like, this is something that I know is priority. I know that I need to take care of this before I put myself in situations. And I think sometimes you can prepare all you want and have the right coping tools, but also sometimes you need to make a decision on if certain environments aren't worth the criticism that you receive. So at the end of the day, I love what she did. I love that she took this time for herself, that she is taking time for herself. She's a gorgeous woman of color, and she has a lot more things coming her way, but I commend her. Coming from a therapist, I really think that it's important to really do this. And I think even just a little bit of for people that aren't able to do this, because yes, we can say, like, use your time off, use your PTO, take a mental health day. But for those people that aren't able to do that, that have that challenge, I think it's basically about the things that you do to prepare for a work environment or unhealthy or toxic environment. What is what are the steps that are needed to really get you out of that toxic environment? What are the steps that you're going to take, and starting small? And I think sometimes we can overwhelm ourselves, and I talk about that often, about just everything that we can overwhelm ourselves with what all needs to be done. And it's like, start small. What are the first steps that need to happen to kind of get you out of that toxic environment or situation? Also, before, and I'll use the example of going to work. If work is a toxic environment and maybe at the moment you can't really get out of it, then what are the things that you do before going to work? Creating some type of routine to make sure that your mental health is okay, your thoughts are okay, because if you're already thinking and behaving in a way that you're about to go in a toxic environment, so your thoughts are negative, that's not helping. So what are the things that can be done? I always say meditation. Create that meditation before you go in. Create some positive statements that you can say to yourself prior to walking into those doors. Have some sticky notes on your car or on your phone that can help you. Listen to music throughout your workday, but really create some type of plan that you do prior to work that really helps with shifting your mind into a more healthy light, knowing that there are aspects of this particular situation that you can control, but the things that you can control are the things that you do and the time that you put into things that you prioritize. So do that. You always have time to prioritize your mental health in some way, your self-care in some way, and it's very simple. Whether it's eating something in the moment, staying hydrated, getting enough rest, reading a chapter or a paragraph, listening to a podcast, getting, more steps than you did the day before, shooting someone a text message just to kind of connect with them. Basically having certain small items that you can put in your hand to help you relax. What else? There's so many different things that you can do. And so I think sometimes it's about really focusing on that. Like, yes, this is maybe not an ideal situation right now, but what are the things that you have some control over, that you can do something about, that you can manage your time a little bit better to do? Okay, I know I kind of got into that whole a tangent on that, but I think it's important. Yes, I think we talked about someone who has those resources and is able to kind of take that time off, but I think it's also important that if you don't have that, like, what are the things that you do for yourself that you can control? Once again, I'm ending it with just, I like where things are going with mental health. I think we have a lot of work to do. I think it's still something that, I hope more athletes and celebrities actually talk about this and are open about this, to really make sure for people that they start getting comfortable with just acknowledging like these things and factors are important. Thank you again for joining in. Please, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do, and hopefully come back and see me, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.